Top 7 scammers that ended up in jail. Oludayo Kolawole John Adago, jailed for $1.9 million business email compromise scam. This 45-year-old dual citizen of Nigeria and UK was the mastermind of a business email compromise scheme that targeted businesses across the United States. In 2016, Oludayo and his criminal friends attacked a North Carolina university that was planning a major construction project. Posing as employees of the legitimate construction company, they instructed the university to transfer $1.9 million to their own accounts. After years of investigation, the FBI, along with US authorities and the UK government, finally tracked down Oludayo. He was extradited to the US in August 2022. Facing overwhelming evidence, Oludayo Kolawole pled guilty to wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison, followed by 1 year of supervised release and over $940,000 in restitution. Phillips Yemi Fatui, jailed for 43 million naira forex fraud. Phillips' downfall began in 2016 when he, along with his company, Ocean View Oil and Gas Limited, was accused of defrauding another company, Wapsil Nigeria Limited. Posing as a trusted businessman and FX trader, he collected about 43 million naira from his victim, promising to help them convert it to dollars, which was around $98,870 at the time. But that promise turned out to be a lie. The victim never received anything back. Phillips Fatui was sentenced to 14 years in prison for the first charge and 7 years in prison for the second charge of stealing, both to be served concurrently. His company, Ocean View Oil and Gas Limited, was ordered to pay 750,000 naira fine within 30 days or face liquidation. Also, the court ordered restitution of $90,000 or its naira equivalent to the victims. Oluwole Adegboruwa, jailed for over $9 million dark web drug peddling. From 2016 to 2019, Oluwole used the dark web to create a marketplace where people can easily buy oxycodone drugs without doctor's prescription. He targeted his sales to customers in the United States, thereby flooding the country with these dangerous drugs. He made over $9 million through this scheme. But as you know, staying anonymous on the dark web is nothing but a fairy tale. Oluwole's downfall began when investigators followed the money trail. Using advanced techniques, agencies like the DEA, IRS Criminal Investigation, and US Postal Inspection Service pieced together his digital footprint. Eventually, Oluwole was arrested in the US. In May 2024, he was found guilty of multiple federal charges, including conspiracy to distribute oxycodone and money laundering. In the end, Oluwole Adegboruwa was sentenced to 30 years in prison for his crimes. He was also ordered to pay over $20 million in restitution. Babatunde Francis Ayeni, jailed for $20 million business email compromise scam. Babatunde, a 33-year-old man also based in the UK, wreaked havoc on real estate companies in the United States. He crafted phishing emails containing malicious links and attachments. Once the unfortunate real estate agents clicked on these links, Babatunde would gain access to the agent's login credentials. This allowed him to monitor ongoing transactions within the compromised email accounts. He would remain hidden in the account, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The moment Babatunde received a particular message indicating that their victim, a home buyer, was about to make payment, Babatunde would contact the home buyer directly, impersonating the legitimate real estate agents. In these messages, they will provide the buyer with fake wire transfer instructions, diverting the payments into accounts they controlled. In total, more than 400 people fell victim to this scam. Out of this, 231 of them lost all their entire life savings. The overall loss was about $20 million, leaving many victims devastated. Babatunde Francis Ayeni was later captured in the UK and extradited to the US. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his crimes. Abila Danzama Ishaku, jailed for 12 million naira social media scam. Ishaku is one of those type of scammers that create fake profiles on platforms like TikTok and Instagram and make false promises to people in the comment section and DM. He claimed he could unblock and reactivate disabled TikTok accounts and help scam victims recover their stolen money. Between 2023 and 2024, Ishaku stole about 12 million naira from his scheme. In a surprising move, all the stolen money flowed into his OPay account, a digital trail that would eventually lead to his arrest. Ishaku's activities eventually drew the attention of the EFCC Maiduguri Zonal Directorate. Upon investigation, they quickly realized what he has been up to, his fraudulent activities and the accounts he used. In court, Ishaku pleaded guilty to all charges. On November 5, 2024, he was sentenced to 9 years in prison with an option of fine. Beyond prison time, the judge ordered the forfeiture of all items connected to his crimes, that is, iPhone 13 Pro Max, iPhone XR, iPhone 11, Samsung Galaxy A32, Toyota Camry 2008 model, and the sum of $1,500 all handed over to the Nigerian government. Okuku Valentine Osuji, jailed for $6 million business email compromise scam. Operating out of Nigeria, Malaysia, and the United States, Okuku and his criminal partners focused their attacks on USA. They specialized in using spoofed fake emails that looked very legitimate to trick their victims into transferring money to their own accounts. For years, they defrauded hundreds of people, including banks and NGOs. By now, you already know how BEC scams work. In 2022, Okuku was arrested in Malaysia and extradited to the United States. The extent of his criminal operation was revealed. He had stolen over $6 million. In a US court, Okuku was found guilty of conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and aggravated identity theft. On December 4, 2024, Okuku Valentine Osuji was sentenced to 8 years in prison and was ordered to pay restitution to his victims. Christopher Agaj, jailed for $198,000 wire fraud. Between November and December 2020, a law firm in the US became the target of a highly sophisticated fraud scheme carried out by Christopher. Posing as a business owner in a legal dispute with a local company in the US, Christopher established a fake attorney-client relationship with the law firm. With this newly established relationship, the law firm now has the responsibility of receiving checks and making payments on behalf of their new client, Christopher. Christopher immediately went into action. He sent a fraudulent Citibank check for $198,850 to the law firm, which was deposited into the firm's account. Soon after, they received a request to wire nearly the entire amount to Christopher's business partners, successfully siphoning the funds. When law enforcement caught wind of the fraud, they launched a full-scale investigation. In February 2024, Christopher Agaj was extradited from the United Kingdom to the United States to face justice. He was found guilty of money laundering, aiding and abetting wire fraud, and aiding and abetting mail fraud. On September 11, 2024, the judge sentenced Christopher Agaj to 142 months in prison, that is 11 years, 8 months in prison, and ordered to pay $188,000 in restitution to the law firm he defrauded. Tell me, which of these stories shocked you the most? Please like and subscribe to help this channel get recommended to more people. Thank you, and remember, crime doesn't pay. Stay safe.